In case you all have or know of coaches that were wanting to get on this training, but we're not able to due to scheduling. Like, as you just heard, I will be recording it, and the plan is anytime we do any types of trainings like this or anything that USA Bracketing provides us video wise, we will basically create a library on our website for you all to be able to go back and access later on. So this will be available, this training tonight will be available for anyone who needs to get access to it. With us tonight, I'll go ahead and get started. I got 6 o'clock, so I'll get going. With us tonight is David Gearhart from USA Wrestling.
Matthews.
Sorry. And we got USA Bracketing. He's going to run, let me get more people in here. He's going to be running the training this evening and answer any questions you all have. We're excited about this new platform. We think it's going to be a great thing for Tennessee wrestling. It's going to lead to great things down the road for us as well. I think when you see basically all of the things that the package that your team will now have access to, you'll be excited about it as well. There's some bells and whistles in here that you all will be able to basically take the benefit of for your program that we think will help out. So without any further ado, I'm just going to be hanging out and letting people in as they join, but I will turn it over and let Matthew take it off.
Awesome. All right. So first of all, thank you guys for having us. We're going to go through some things from the start to finish, kind of run through some things. I'm sure Joe will chime in on some of these things as we go through them from a scheduling perspective for the season as things start to go out and how those things are going to work. I'm going to share my screen right off the bat here. So let me go get my screen shared. And here, I think this is the right one. Let's make sure this is the right one. Yep, that's the right one. Okay. So first off, as we look at this, as we look at where we're at with this, let me pull up your schedule here so we can talk about it. Now, for your season, Joe has already sent out to you guys admin to your team admins, which are your coaches and your athletic directors. He sent out those an invite to use the system and be able to get in. So if you did not get a request yet to join your team and be a part of your team, that notification has already been sent out. That probably means that Joe may not have a good email for you, or you may need to check your spam folder just to make sure that it didn't. But that email address that invited ADs and head coaches was sent out on 7/20, so on the 20th of this month. So you guys should be able to see that somewhere around 8 a.m. ish your time on 7/20. That email was sent out. Okay. So once that email is sent out, you're going to click the link in that email and make sure you do it through that email. That you can either create an account if you don't already have one by going in and clicking the create account button, or you can log in to the system. Okay. If you already have an account, you log in. It's going by clicking that link. It's going to go ahead and link your high school team to your account that you have in USA Bracketing. Or if you go with a create account, after the account's created, it will do the same thing and let you log in. Okay. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to move you guys over. All right. So now once you log in to USA Bracketing and you're linked to your team, you're going to see your dashboard of event history, popular events, different things like that. But you're also going to see the My Seasons. Okay. And under My Seasons, if you are linked to your high school team, you would see, like I've linked myself to Baylor. So you can see 26, 27 high school male, the Baylor school. So I can go to the Baylor from right there. So once you know you're linked to your team and you log in, on the dashboard, you're going to see My Seasons, and then you're going to see the high school team that you're associated with. And that would be whether you're an assessor or an AD or a coach or just an admin of the team, you'll have the ability to be there for that. Okay? So that's after you get that email from Joe and you click the link and either log in or create your account, you'll have that pop up for you on your dashboard. All right? So now once you have that, we're going to click into it. And once I go into my season, now I'm into my season and I have some things that presented to me that we can deal with. All right. Now, speaking strictly from your perspective of things, the assessors are the ones who are going to put in all of the weight management stuff for you to get the assessment in and to make your wrestlers eligible for the season. So that part you don't have to worry about. But what you do have to worry about right off the bat is making sure that you go in and get your rosters created. Okay. So in the roster tab, we can go in and go to our roster. And I've already created Thomas here and have Thomas linked, but I'm going to create another one just so you can see the difference. So you're going to go in and you're going to add wrestler. And now the first thing I would say is with your rosters, it is good for you before you even start your roster building to go ahead and contact your team and let them know to go create their own accounts in USA Bracketing. That will help a bunch with not having to have duplicate profiles, having you have to search for people and fill out their information like their date of birth, email addresses, that sort of thing. They can go ahead and do that for you ahead of time. And then when you're ready to build your roster, you'll be able to select them from a list. Okay? And the difference is this. When I go to add a wrestler and I hit select profile, if he's already on my roster and I know who he is, I can come in and select him, and then it's going to pop up. Oh, there's Tristan right there. I know who he is. I can select Tristan, and now I can add Tristan in, say what weight he's going to go this year, what grade he's in, and skill level if we're selecting that. Actual weight you don't have to worry about, but you can put that in if you want to know where he is at the beginning of the season. And then I'm going to add him to my roster, okay? And so by them creating their own profiles, you're just selecting from a list of profiles and be able to get right to them and go in there, okay?
Question.
Yes.
This is Brian Parker. So before our roster was built, when we did our weight certification.
Yep.
So on here, we have to build it before we go do our weight certification.
So the assessors, to my knowledge, Joe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the assessors are not building your rosters. You're going to put your roster in, and then the assessors have the ability to pick from that roster to be able to put all their assessments on those kids. So you will have to have your roster in before you go to assessment.
Okay.
Okay. Now that was if the kid already had his profile. If he wasn't on your list already, when I go into my select profile, I can also search by a number. If it's a USAW number, or I can just search for a name. I'm gonna search for a name real quick. And then I can find myself here and I can select me to put in. I'm obviously not gonna wrestle on this team, but we could put myself in that way as well, okay? If everything else, if you didn't find the person, I'm gonna select another one and just say with 2 T's, or 3, just to make sure. And I didn't find the person, I could create a new profile, but in creating that profile, I need to know their first name, last name, gender, male or female, their date of birth, and then a valid email address is something that would be preferred so that the kids can get an email, log in and see their own weight assessments, be able to follow themselves in tournaments, all those sorts of things, okay? So not having to have that date of birth and that email is why we say make sure you go ahead and have your kids go and put create their profiles, so it makes a lot less work on the coaches as you go through those things. But if you had to in a pinch, you could go through and put those things in for them. All right. Email is not required as you're creating this, but it is preferred. Okay. Now, back to your roster. When I'm on my roster, there's a couple of things. If they do not have an assessment in, or if the assessment was not completed or approved, meaning, hey, they were out of range or something was wrong with the assessment, they're going to have a red X with the eligibility. Okay. The red X means that they're either not assessed or there's a problem with the assessment. All right. The green check mark means that they are good to go, they've been assessed, and they're ready to roll, okay? So at the beginning of the season, when you put in your roster, everyone's going to have their red X, okay? So then after the assessments are done and your assessors have put everything in, you'll start to see the green check marks come as they start to put in those assessments for those individuals on your team, all right? Now, as part of that, once the assessment's in, I can click over here on them to see their weight loss plans, if there's a weight loss plan in there for them. I can click to see their matches during the season. If there are matches in here, it will update the records for me to say varsity, JV, or overall, be able to see those things. So everything you can do is for managing your roster is right here on this page, on the rosters, okay? Now, I can also edit their information, so I can click in here to edit their information if I needed to. I can also go to their profile and click on profile and edit anything here if we need to tell them, hey, the email address to recover from, all those sorts of things. I can see their matches. I can also see their weigh-ins. So as we commit weigh-ins and have weigh-ins in the system, I'll be able to see those there. All right. And after we're done with showing you guys through your own season, I'll show you some of last year's data from another state so you can see how that all looks. Okay. But you're going to add your wrestlers in. So from your standpoint of what you need to do, there's two things that you guys have to do as coaches. You're going to put in your roster, and then you're going to deal with your schedule. Okay? Any questions on the roster or building the roster before I move on to schedule stuff?
I just have this question is actually more for Joe if he's still there.
I believe he is.
Yep.
Yeah. When they bill us for the assessments, is it just are we just billed for the ones that are on here assessed, or are we billed for anybody that's on the roster?
Yeah, just who is assessed.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
And as you as a coach, you'll be able to go under assessments and actually see the assessments, although you can't edit them or see them. You can actually see the assessments, when they were, all that sort of stuff, where their skin folds were. You'll be able to see all that sort of information. You won't be able to edit them or see it or deal with it, but you can actually monitor and see those assessments as they come in. Okay? So now, from the schedule standpoint, all right, once we go to the schedule, now as we build out a schedule, there's some things you could need to think about here. Push this off. Okay. So your schedule building is from 9/1 to 11/16 is what Joe has set up. And what that means is from September 1st through 11/16, we want you to put in only your home matches. Okay. And so as you put in your home matches, you're able to put in the duels, the individual tournaments, dual tournaments, anything you're going to that you are hosting. Okay. So if I go in here and I'm going to put in another tournament here, I'm going to put in a tournament. We're going to say it's a dual event. I'm going to call it a varsity. I could high school folk style correct. I'm going to call it the Baylor Duels. And then I can pick the date the event's on. I'll say it's going to be on October 31st, Halloween. Okay. In Tennessee. And then because you're putting in your home matches, you're going to say that this is I'm the host team. Okay. Now we'll continue there. It's going to ask me for my facility. I'll put that in. Real date, of course. And then that's going to be on my schedule. Okay. Now, once it's on my schedule, there are things here that I want to make sure that I'm taking care of and able to do. All right. If you are, as I go into, and once I'm in here, now I can go into my Baylor invite. And when I click on it, I can actually go to the Baylor invite and I can add the teams that are going to be in there. So if you're a home team, if you're a host team, and I know I'm going to have other teams coming in, I'm going to click on the teams tab from the schedule. I'm going to add season teams. And then from there, I can select multiple teams that I want to deal with. So I'll just put Chattanooga because I know there's a lot of them. And then I can go through and say, yep, they're coming, they're coming, they're coming. Now, if it is a JV, varsity, and a girls duel, you only need one event and you can put them all in the same event. Okay. So if you know you're going to have different divisions within that tournament, you can put all those teams in there at the same time. So you can say, hey, we're going to have both the guys and the girls team there, that sort of thing. And it will go on both their guys and girls roster when you do this, okay, or on their schedule, all right? So you want to make sure that you're selecting those teams that are coming. And then once you do that, if there was another one you could come to, and you could go there and see, let's see, what's another school? Sure, or something. Yep, so there you go, Blackman. So then I can go back and pick other schools. I can go back to search. I can be done. They're all in there, and I can add those teams. And when I do that, those teams will come up and come right in there to it. Okay?
I have a question. What if we're wrestling in an event that is out of state?
Okay. Yep. When you put that on your roster, you can say that you're not the host team, and then from that point on, it's on your schedule, and your team is in the event, but not anything else. So if I go in here to the schedule here again, and I'll just say I'm going to add an event. I'm going to say it's an individual event, varsity, this sort of thing here. I'll call it a out-of-state invite. Pick whatever date it is. And it said Tennessee, whatever state it's going to. So say it was going to go to Georgia, and you're not the host team, so you can just say another team. And then you'll continue. And then from here, you can say, oh, look, here's some other schools in Georgia, but you're not worried about that. Governing body, Georgia, continue. And then it's on your schedule, and you can deal with it that way. You're just not having to add those extra teams that are in the out-of-state there.
Thank you.
If they are a state that is using USA bracketing, like you were going to go up to Indiana for anything or anything like that, then you can actually add those guys in as they go through that. Okay? Now, once those are on my schedule, okay, so say I've got my schedule built, all right? I've got my schedule built, I've got my roster built. Now it's time to start actually looking at my first events, all right? So once you have your schedule built, then all you're dealing with is what's on this page, okay? So really and truly as a coach, you're dealing with your roster page, and then you're dealing with the schedule for everything else, okay? So now one of the unique things is as you go into an event here into your schedule, I'm going to click on this uncommitted weigh-in form, which is the yellow scale beside the event. And when I click on that, I can then add wrestlers. So I'm going to add a weigh-in. I'm going to choose the wrestlers that are, and I can only choose the wrestlers that are eligible, meaning the ones that have been assessed. And I can only choose the ones that have not have open weigh-ins, and we'll talk about the open weigh-ins here in just a bit. Okay, but I'm going to choose my wrestler. I can say what division it is. Usually in a tournament, if you have a junior varsity, a varsity, and a girls, you can choose what division those wrestlers are going to be in that you're selecting to add in. Okay, if not, then they're just going to be straight into the weight classes. You'll say what the date of the weigh-in is, which is defaulted to the first day of the event. And then was there a weight allowance, yes or no? You can say that if there was. Like if it was a consecutive day weigh-in, you can say, yes, this is going to be a 2-pound allowance or 1 pound or whatever it is. If it is the holidays after the 2-pound allowance, you don't have to say an allowance. The system already knows that you're getting 2 pounds on those days. Okay? Now, I'll add that weigh-in. Now, by me adding the weigh-in, he's here, and you can see some things here that there's a GB weight, what weight he could be, there's allowance, and there's divisions. Okay? If I save this form, when I save my weigh-in form, it will actually put him into the tournament, and it will put him in a weight class, but there is no weight class in that tournament. So I'll show you one here in a bit that shows the weight classes and the weight loss plans that are associated with it. But I'll save that weigh-in form, and that will enter him right into the tournament. Okay? So from your weigh-in sheet, you're able to manage and deal with everything about the event, where he is in the event, what weights. There are no weights in this tournament because I just created a fake one. What all is happening with the event. I can actually sit here and go through and deal with that. Okay? All right? So for your weigh-in form, your schedule, and your teams, those are the things that you're looking for to manage as a coach. Okay? So you're going to go to your roster, you'll put in your roster, you'll go to your schedule, you'll put your schedule in, then everything starts to go from a weigh-in or from the weigh-in form. All right? Now, any question on that before I show you what it looks like when it's all filled out and you actually have all your stuff in? And I'll look at some stuff from last year for you.
Important thing to point out, if you are creating a weigh-in sheet and you want to add wrestlers to that, and you see a wrestler that's not showing up that you want to add to that sheet, and it's like later on in the season, that probably means there's a weigh-in somewhere in the past that is open still that you haven't recorded for that wrestler. Make sure you get all your wrestlers' weights recorded. Otherwise, it will not let you add them to the sheets.
Correct. And so what that means is, so in Tennessee, you guys are allowing 2 open weigh-ins. So if I have 2 spots on my schedule that I have not clicked on and weighed in, so these yellows are uncommitted weigh-ins. So if I have 2 of these open with say Dave Matthews is on both those weigh-in sheets and it's not a committed weigh-in, then when I go to add him to the third one, it's not going to show up for him. He cannot be added to that weigh-in because it is not committed yet. All right. Yep. And so when you see the no wrestler, it's either because they're ineligible or they have too many open weigh-ins. Okay. Now, as part of this too, as you go through these things, let me go grab a governing body from last year that we can play with here. So I'm going to go grab Indiana real quick.
While you're doing that, I've got a quick question. You probably answer as you go. If you remove a wrestler from the weigh-in sheet, does that pull them out of the tournament as well?
It will. So that
Okay.
meant the weigh-in sheet actually. So a unique thing with what we have here is that weigh-in sheet actually talks to the events in bracketing. So if they're running the event live in bracketing, then it will actually talk to the sheet for you. So when you add a wrestler to the weigh-in sheet, it will add them. Oh, I gotta go last year's season. Hold on a second. Sorry, last year's season. But when you add them to the weigh-in sheet, it actually adds them to the tournament, and you're actually manipulating them for the tournament there. Okay, so what weight class they're going to be in, any seating criteria, all that sort of stuff, you do from your weigh-in sheet, and it automatically pushes it over to the tournament. So you don't have to do, if you think about the way you used to do it, where you created your weigh-in sheet, and then you have to get a team admin login to the event to go over to the event, and then put in your roster and manage that. You can do it all right from your weigh-in sheet as you go through it. Okay, so if I go in here from last year with Columbus, all right, so you can see uncommitted weigh-ins, they show up as yellow. Committed weigh-in sheets show up in green. And when I look at a weigh-in sheet, pull this one up real quick, you'll see that will tell you things about the tournament. It's going to tell you that, hey, when the weigh-in form is committed, when the roster entry deadline is for the event. So if the event is running live and says, hey, roster entry deadline is this, you're able to see that as a coach. You can see when the seat information is due, and then you put in your weigh-ins, okay? So when you add kids to your weigh-in, it actually drops them in where you can, and it would default to their weight class they're supposed to be in for that weigh-in, okay? So if they're descending down, it would descend down with them on the weigh-in sheets, as long as they're committed, okay? All right, so it will give you the weight classes that you're in, and if he isn't in that, you can always bump him up if you need to, if you're bumping up that night or whatever. You can see that it has the division they're in, everything like that about the tournament. So if I click on the pencil, it actually takes me to all the information for the tournament. What division is he going to be in? And he could be in one of the divisions. He can be in the weight classes. Is he a freshman? Where everything that you need to do for that, you can put that stuff in for the tournament right there on your weigh-in sheet. Okay. Now, once they weigh in, so if you're running a tournament on USA Bracketing and they're doing a live weigh-in at the event that morning of or whatever, when they weigh in at the event talks back to your weigh-in sheet, so it will push back the weight to your weigh-in sheet for you. You won't have to carry the weigh-in sheet back, type in all the numbers of the weigh-ins. If they're using the USA Bracketing to do the weigh-ins, it will push that number back to the weigh-in sheet for you. Okay. Then all you're doing as a coach the next that's Monday morning, coming in, looking it over, hitting the commit weigh-in form, and then it commits that weigh-in form for you. Okay. But you can see everyone there. You can click on them to see their weigh-in, what their weigh-in sheets look like, or what their weight loss plans look like. And Indiana's is a little bit unique. It has a different weigh-in format than you guys do. But you can see their weight loss plans. All those sorts of things are available within here. Okay. You can also go and see their matches at that point. So if the tournament's over with, you're able to click on matches and see what matches were in that tournament. And at that point, say it was a tournament that was a JV and a varsity, you could come in and say, hey, this was a varsity match for us, not a JV, and that would count on his varsity record, not the JV record. Okay? So you can change it at the match level or at the event level on your schedule as far as what that tournament type is for you, whether it's varsity or JV. All right? Duels work the same way. You can add a duel. Let me see if there's any duels in here. Yep. Duels are the same way. If I go to my duels, I can see the duels. I can see the results of the duel. I can commit these results just by checking the box, saying commit. I like those results. I can click on it to see what the results were. Make sure they're all right. Everything's good because it was scored live in the system. I can go back to my duels then, and I can commit those. And I can commit those weigh-in or that duel. And when I commit it, I just type in commit, and then it will lock that in so those matches count on my schedule. Okay, so they count on the individual records and things. All right.
Quick question. If you have a 2-day tournament, do you have to do anything separate creating a date, and do you have to create 2 different weigh-in sheets if you do that?
You would create your weigh-in sheet, and you would and when you create your weigh-in sheet, you would have a weigh-in sheet, and then you would have an additional. You would go back and add another weigh-in for the additional day. So if I had a weigh-in sheet, take this one here. So I have a weigh-in sheet. I would add a weigh-in again and change the date to another date, and it would add 2 dates on here for me as I did that. and I put in with their wrestlers are already in there. This season's already over. But I would just change the date and add another weigh-in. And just like it has a column, it would have 2 columns here for it. So if I go back to this schedule here to where that one had the stuff in there, the same way it had this one, it would have two spots for this. So this would show up twice. It would show up once for the 22nd, once for the 23rd. Does that make sense, Rod?
It does. And if you're creating a date, you have to do 2 different dates, like Black Horse Day 1, Black Horse Day 2, or can you put one tournament in for a 2-day tournament?
One tournament for 2-day tournament.
What's that?
Yes, one tournament for a 2-day tournament. You only need one tournament. Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
don't need separate ones for each day. You can make because when you create your schedule, you'll make it span multiple days is all you're doing there.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. And one of the things that will trip you guys up just to think about, especially if you guys are coaching both the guys and the girls team, or your guys team that has JV and varsity on it. When you create an event, don't create an event on the same day that is for your varsity and another event for your JV. They can all be in the same event. All you're going to have is different divisions that you'll add them to. Okay? And your templates that we have for you guys already have those divisions locked in for the varsity, the JV, and the girls. So every tournament you do will have those divisions, and then you can not use them or use them as you need to. Okay? Now, activating an event. As I go into my events here, let me go into the season that we just did for a second. So go to my Baylor. All right. So as I'm in here and I'm on here. Yep. So as I'm creating these, like this duel right here, that's the Baylor duels. Okay. When I create a duels tournament, what I want to make sure I'm doing, like if I'm having, even though you have a duel at your tournament, say I'm going to have Blair versus McCauley. Okay. Blair versus McCauley is going to happen. But they're going to have their varsity, their JV, and their girls all wrestled on the same night. That's not one duel. That's actually a multi-duel tournament. So a single duel is literally just a single duel. I have Baylor versus McCauley, and it's only the varsity. Okay? If I'm going to do both my varsity and my JV in the same night, I always want to make sure I'm choosing a multi-duel tournament. Okay? Just so we get that clarified there as you go through it. All right? Now, as I go through this also, okay, so we've got our event in, we've got our weigh-in sheet, we've got our results. Now, if I'm going to run the event live, okay, so for you guys in Tennessee, any event you run through our system is free of charge, okay? But the way you get the free of charge is from being on your schedule, clicking the order event button right there, which is the little globe beside the matches. And then when I get into it, I can activate the event, all right? Activating the event just makes me run through my my questions as far as what the event is, what time zone it's in, where I'm at, all those things. Bracketing methods, predefined weights. I'm going to do first available. Pre-reg, I don't have to worry about this. You could do team admin invite if you want to make it where they could get into the tournament to edit their teams there instead of having to do their rosters. I go next. I have everything right here. Next. Don't have to worry about this. If I have people that run my tournaments for me, I can add them as admins, meaning if Joe Blair was going to run my tournament, I could choose Joe, and I would give him admin access to my tournament to help run my tournament. I'd go next, and then from there, I'm able to submit event for payment. When I do so, it'll be $0 because you're part of USA Bracketing in the season for Tennessee, okay? So all you got to do is just complete that transaction. All right? And then once you do that, your event's active, ready to go, ready to start running it live and doing everything you need to there. Okay? So the difference is if you have someone that runs your tournaments outside of your school and they go and try to create the event themselves, it's going to charge them $150 to run the event. And we don't want that. So make sure you're doing the events through your schedule and then give those admins access to the event after you order it. And then it's free of charge. We don't have to worry about it. They're ready to go. Okay? So really and truly for your seasons, and I talk really fast, guys, so I apologize. But as you go through your season here, that's really all there is from a team standpoint for you guys. You're going to worry about your schedule, and you're going to worry about that roster, okay? And your first thing right now is getting that roster in. Go and telling your kids, go create your events, or go create your profiles so they can start selecting them for the roster and putting them on the roster for the assessments. Okay. Now, Joe, a couple of things, couple of deadlines just to throw out there. Schedule creation for you guys starts on 9/1. So on September 1st, you can start creating your schedules. Again, only home matches is what we're looking for there. And then add the teams to it that are going to come to your home matches or invitational tournaments or duels or whatever. And then from there, you're going to branch out, and then that will be until 11/16. So on 11/16, you won't be able to create any more. No, sorry, that's your competition start date. Your 11/16, yeah, is new creation deadline. So after 11/16, you won't be able to create any new events in the system. You'll only be able to choose from ones that already exist. And if you have a mistake or it's reschedule or need anything, that'll go to Joe and those guys can create it, or my support staff can create it for you.
And just for clarification for everybody, that 11/16 date, we put that in there. That's when schedules have to be submitted through the portal for TSSAA anyway. That's the first official date of competition. So it's possible that's the reason why I set that as the end. So after we get off of this, and maybe talk to Dave and Justin, and I might adjust that because I know people they want to add dates as the season goes on or whatever. We can tweak that.
Yeah, we can always, these are fluctuating things that Joe can instruct us, or Joe can change himself or instruct us to change, and we'll make those changes for you guys.
Yeah.
Question. Yeah. So if we're only entering our home events, so we're depending on all of our opponents to enter their home events so that we can go in and pick from theirs to add to our schedule.
Well, yeah, so if they're adding teams, if you think, and I'll show again 1 second here, let me get my mouse over here. So on the screen, if you're looking, and I go to that Baylor invite, if they create that event and then they go to the teams tab, they're able to add whatever teams are coming to the event. So if they know you're coming, they should be adding you to it. And just by me adding this, now I'll go to Blackman over here. So I'm going to go back over here and go to a different team now. And I'm going to go to Blackman. And now when I go to Blackman's schedule, you can see the Baylor invites over there because we were added as a team to that event. So as long as they're doing their part and putting in their home matches and adding the teams that are coming, you should show up on the schedule. It should show up on your schedule.
All right. So if it's let's say the day before a dual meet, and for whatever reason they haven't added us,
Yep.
and then I can't do my weigh in.
They can add you that day. They can add you from adding a team. They can add the teams at any point in time. So they can add you that day, that morning, that night before. And if you have real problems, you can contact our support, and I'll go over that in just a minute, and we can help add it, or Joe can. Any of us can do that for you.
Okay.
And that was a common theme. What I say is that's a common theme in the beginning of things, in that first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, where guys are like, oh gosh, I forgot to do that. I forgot to add that team, whatever. And so it becomes natural after a couple of weeks of getting through that first grind of the season to do that. But yeah, that's how you would deal with that, is to see that. And I would say check over your schedule. If you know you're going, look at it, and if it's not there, go ahead and contact that coach and be like, hey, make sure you add me to the team, knowing we're coming or whatever.
Hey, Dave, we had a question in the chat. What if you're going to a tournament in a state that doesn't use USA bracketing?
Yep, that was what we did before. So if I go back here and I'll go back to Baylor again and look at Baylor. That's where you have this out-of-state invite. So if you're going to an out-of-state team, what you're going to do is you're going to add an event, and then when you add it, you're going to make sure you select the state whatever state that's in, Georgia or Alabama or wherever you're going to add to. And then when you add that in, then that would just show up on your schedule, just like any other event. But it's not just going to be run live. You're not going to have to order it or deal with it. Okay. The only thing you're going to have to deal with is your weigh-in sheet at that point. And then if you want to, and Joe, are you guys required to put in your matches and things into bracketing?
We let regions do that for seeding purposes for this year. My goal for this is to try and encourage everybody to start putting in there all of their results so that next year, and we see how this first year goes, that next year we have everyone entering all of their results and we get to where we are seeding the postseason.
Gotcha.
including state tournaments using USA bracketing and the results.
Gotcha. So the first thing I'd say is the easiest way to deal with that is always use the system. So especially for your home events. Make sure you're using the system, and then you don't have to worry about any kind of data entry because you're running it live. Everything flows back to your schedule, flows back to the profiles in your kids, so you don't have that problem of having to enter that data. If it is an out of state that does not run on USA bracketing, then you would hit the little button there that goes to matches, and I can add matches. So I can add matches for my wrestlers here, and I can just add those matches in as I need to. Okay, so I can just say add match, folk style, what weight class was it, what was the bout type if I needed to, who was the wrestler that wrestled, who was the opponent they went against, who was the opponent's team, all those sorts of things I had to add in, and then I could add that result into the tournament, into here for them, so they could be added to their stats matches for the wrestler. Okay, so that's how you would handle that. But using the system is always there. If you guys use Map Boss as well, if you're using Map Boss, especially for those tournaments that are out of state, if you use Map Boss, you can actually from Map Boss import into your schedule and import those match results over into it. So if you're using Map Boss, that already works and can be transferred over to USA bracketing without having to do that data entry. All right. The only other thing I would like to, before we go, any questions you guys have, when you are selecting your wrestlers and you're going to add wrestler, so at least know their birth year so you can make sure you can match them up. So if I'm searching for a wrestler and I'm searching for a wrestler in the system and I'm trying to find who it is, let's make sure that it's the right guy, right? So there's two in Colorado, one with a birthday of 78, one with a birthday of 86. Let's make sure we're selecting the right guy because that will cause you problems down the road if you're attached to the wrong profile, the kids' matches aren't getting put in the right spot. You're going to have to contact support. We're going to have to deal with that and help you unweave that to get them ready to go. Okay? So just kind of pay attention to those two things, the name, state, and year of birth. Make sure those things are all matching for you as you go through it. Okay? Then finally, support. If you guys are and I'll go to the live site for that. For support, if you guys go up to the top, there's a support tab. Once you go to support, you can search through our knowledge base of things, or you can go to contact us. You can give a phone call. If we don't answer, leave a message, and then we'll get back to you. You can send an email directly to there, and it'll put in a ticket, or you can fill out the form, and that will also put in a ticket. We have a very good, very good response time on these things, and we try to get to you as quick as possible. Usually within the hour, you're getting responses and getting things resolved. So let us know if you have any issues. Don't hesitate. Reach out to us. I mean, we have a couple of our support staff on this call now, watching this and hanging out. So we're here for you as we go through those things. So support's there. Whatever you guys need, we're here for you. So, Joe, what else you got, or any questions?
Just answering some questions in the chat. One of the questions was, and I think we've talked about this, we will have a separate training later on this fall for tournament directors. You have people that are only, and I know we got some of them on here. I know, Garrett, you run a lot of tournaments for a lot of people, and there's other people that are like that, Jared Grindstaff and whatever. We're going to have a separate training for those people that have set up, that are going to be running tournaments, and that's pretty much all they're doing. Mm-hmm. And anything as far as like table workers, different tutorials and things like that. One thing about this is USA bracketing, you're going to be getting, I don't know if it's going to be weekly, but you're going to be getting periodic emails throughout the season of different trainings, hey, here's how you do this, just reminders about that and whatnot that will be pushed out by USA bracketing throughout the season.
Yeah, you're going to get constant communication from us as we're trying to walk you through the season from a standpoint of here's what's coming up. Oh, we got postseason coming. Here's the things that you need to be doing. Oh, here's things that we see you guys aren't committing your results. Here's how you commit your results or your weighing sheets, videos to remind you of how to do that. We also have our YouTube training videos, which goes over a lot of the seasonal stuff. As well as the event stuff. So if you're an event guy or a season guy, you can come out here and look through our videos and see a lot of how to do things on USA bracketing through that as well as a support mechanism there. Also, as you're in here into support, let me get back to my support here. Release notes. Anytime we're making changes that are something of importance to the system, we try to put in release notes to let people know what was changed or what was added. So if you're running an event, hey, knowing that now there's a new event search feature or check-in feature, those sorts of things are always good for you too, as you're going through those things. So plenty of support out there, and we're always here to answer questions and help you out and guide you through those things.
I have a question. Our firewall in our district has quarantined all the stuff that you guys have sent. I luckily emailed Joe today and got the link for this. Is there a specific link we need to make our accounts that will be in the Tennessee?
Yeah, so what I'd say is just if when you're talking about emails right now, right?
Well, no, just like we didn't get, and nobody in my district got a link to get on to
That came from an
access
email.
everything.
That came from an email address. So what we should do is reach out to your district and have them
I
whitelist.
can do that, but what do we need to do now? So, like, if I want to go on and make an account, do I just go create an account, or is there a special link I need to get in to have the Tennessee for everything Tennessee?
Yeah, so Leah, let's see what school are you with?
Stewart's Creek,
Let's see what email address they sent it to.
and it sent like I can see it's quarantined, but it won't release the email because it's still quarantined
Okay.
for our firewall. So I can send it to. I can take care of that part of the system. I can do it to ITS, but I'm just saying for now.
Once you get that email, there's a link you click that will automatically connect you to your team.
Okay.
Otherwise, when you create your account, then we'd have to just add you to the team is all. That's all we'd have to do. If you add your account to it. What team are you with?
Stewart's Creek,
Female or male season?
female.
Oh, okay. Let me look here. I just want to make sure and show you guys kind of how the thing goes. Because as you are going through this as well, so as admins, I said roster and schedule, you're also responsible for admins. So you'll have an admins tab inside of your team. And when you go there, you can add somebody to your team as an existing account if they already have one. If they don't, you can say unknown account, put in their email, which is what we did with Joe. And then you put in your title, head coach, athletic director, whatever they are, team manager, trainer, and then you give them permissions. They can have everything, user management, weight management, team management, event management, whatever that may be. So like if you have somebody that just runs your tournaments for you, you only want them to have event management if you're going to add them to your season. So that way they can look at your schedule and order events for you. That would be all that is about. Team management means they can manage your rosters, that sort of thing. Weight management is more of the assessors. You guys won't have that. User management is being able to do team admins, and then all is being able to do everything there. Okay. So as you add them in, you'll add their emails. And so for you, Leah, I'm guessing this Tom,
Yep.
that's you. If you create an account with that email address, then then that's how you get linked to it. We'll be able to link you up and have you in there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Perfect.
All right.
So do I just need to email you, or do I need just to make my account?
Yeah, what I would say is if you want to go ahead and get started because you got that email block, go ahead and make your account and then hit that support link up here, contact us, and just fill out this form real quick. Go to weight management or general support, put in your stuff there, and just say, hey, can I be linked to my team? My team's Stewart's Creek. I'm Leah Thompson. Here's my email address, and our support staff will pick that ticket up immediately and get you linked to it.
All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. But info@usabracketing.com is the email address you should tell your district to whitelist. And then all those will come out of quarantine. Okay? All right. What other questions we have?
Yeah, I got.
So, go ahead.
Yeah. So when I go to away duels, we take our iPad and do live scoring. How do you do that with USA bracketing?
When you say you do that, are you doing that with Matt Boss, or are you just saying in general?
Just well, we were doing it through track. We don't have Matt Boss.
Understand. So if it is an away duel where they're scoring it live, you don't need to do it. They're going to do it live right there for you. Okay. If they're not scoring it live, then the same way when you go into your matches and you add the duel, and this isn't going to let me here, I don't believe. But when you add the duel in, you actually can click the score live button when it's that day, and it'll let you from this page be able to go into it, create, bring up your controller just like you would in an event, and run the matches live there. And we can send you a video on how to get that done. We'll make sure to put that one out for you as well.
So I don't need an app on my iPad. I just do it through the
website. Correct.
Okay.
So my question is kind of related to that as well. If we're running a multi-team duel for our school and we have multiple mats that are displaying on a TV screen, I know running through track wrestling, maybe it was just my ignorance in how to, run it on track wrestling, but I could only score for the TV that I was signed into, and the only way it could show through track wrestling was if the school who was on the other mat had somebody with an account that was on the computer that we provided that would also score it. Is it going to be similar, or event admins as we add them? Can we have them
So,
like?
so you're getting to an event management question there, I'm guessing? Is that more event management?
Yes.
I would say hold off on that question. What I'd say is I don't quite understand the whole process there you're saying. I can tell you that we can make it simpler and it's probably a simpler process, but let's wait until we get to the full event management piece of that and we have that Zoom for that, so we don't confuse that versus, running an individual duel because, from your iPad type stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it was running duels, but running it three different mats for a duel that we were hosting, because that's how we do it with multiple teams. I may be going against one team, the other mat has two other teams going against each
Yeah,
other, and
let's
we
just
would.
run your dual tournament in here. You'd have a worker passcode that you have each of them
Okay.
locked with a worker passcode to that mat.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
For those of you that have people who run tournaments for you, um, they just need to go in and create their own USA bracketing account. Anybody can do that, but they can do that. Once they've created that account, then you can link them or add them as the event manager whenever you create your event, and they'll have whatever access they need to have from that point on.
Yeah, once you have an event, you can go add them as an admin to the event. So if I go into an event, let me just grab an event real quick off of here. Once you go into an event, you're able to go down to your users and add whatever admin you want to that event. So you can just go add admin, and if they have an existing account, search for Joe Blair. I mean, I could go into this event, I go existing account, I could go Joe Blair, and I could add Joe to this event. And now he has admin access to this event, okay? And then if I don't want to have it, I could delete him out, just as easy. And if it was a regular worker, I could set workers for announcer boards, for bout boards, for live scoring, for weigh-ins, for all those things. I could set my worker passcodes. But all those things are in the event management section we'll go over, and it's also videos on our YouTube channel for it. So coaches, any questions about what your roles are from a standpoint of getting in here, managing your roster, managing your schedule, doing your weigh-in sheets, any of that stuff?
So you said we had to wait till September 1st to start our schedule.
Correct.
You say we could go ahead and start putting rosters in?
Correct. Rosters you can start now. So if your kids have profiles already, you go ahead and link them. I would suggest you talk to your team, go ahead and tell them to start putting it getting their profiles on USA Bracketing, so you can just link them. That'd be a lot less work on you from a standpoint of collecting email addresses and date of birth and all that kind of stuff.
So Dave, we had a question about wrestlers having access to weight management. Maybe we'll talk about that
Yeah.
from that. And once we start getting kids certified, what it's going to look like for the coaches, what's it going to look like for the kids and the parents if they set up an account as well.
Yeah. So when we're looking at this, I want to go to last year's team again in Indiana for me. So once you get in here and you have your roster going, and I get in here, is the reason for you having them create these accounts and those profiles that you're linking to is they're already linked and they have access. So because they have access, when you go to a roster and they have access to it, so say I had Ratliff on here, who's one of my workers, Asher Ratliff. So when I have Asher here, if Asher has an account, when he logs in, just like you get that link to your season, he gets a link on his dashboard to his weigh-in sheets or to his weight loss plan. Okay, so he gets access just by having that account and being linked to it. Now, when he logs in, he'll have access to his weigh-in sheet or his weight loss plan and be able to see how it goes and where he needs to be and all those sorts of things. So he'll be able to access that stuff that way. And then parents, if the parents have manager access to their kid, they can access the same things as they go through those. Okay, so that's how all that kind of stuff works. So I'm going to go in real quick and just go in as Asher real quick and see if I can see if he's actually in there as a thing. Come on, users. Right, left. So then from me being here, I can see my seasons. And so you can see he's a part of these 2 seasons. And if I go in that season, then I can say, oh, let me click in here and I can see my weight loss plan for that season. Okay, so he has access as a wrestler being linked to that to your kid that's on your roster. He has access to go in and look at his weight loss plan. Okay, and then a parent has the same if they have access to their kid. They can look at their kid's weight loss plans.
So in that overview video that was linked, it had mentioned towards the end, or if coaches had kids, not to create, I guess, maybe a second account for that, but it's okay if parents do it. I mean, if other parents do it.
So parents would want to create an account for themselves because they're going to want to log in and follow their kid and see their kid's stuff. Their kids are going to want to have their own account because they're teenagers. They're going to want to be at the tournament and see their brackets and see what's going on and follow their friends and do their things that way. And so we tell the parents they want their own account, and then we can give them manager access to their kid.
So do we have to give the parents the manager access for their kids?
No, what I would say is start with your kid. What I say is let's start with the kids, get the kids going, and then from that, when you get questions from the parents can request access to the kids by following them, by coming in and saying, "Hey, I want to follow someone." And so once they start to follow someone, like I have Spencer Lee under here, I'm pretty sure. When they go to my profiles and they're following someone, then they can request access and say, "Hey, I want to be an insider. I want to be a manager," and then the kid can approve it or not. Okay. They can also contact our support staff and we'll handle that. Coaches should not be handling that at all and can't handle that actually.
Thank you. And then another question. When I got the email, I went ahead and got on and started fiddling around with it. It pulls up. Once I click on add a wrestler to my roster, it will pull up. I guess it's crossed over from previous seasons. It'll pull up some of my wrestlers from last year, which then I added. They do not have USA Wrestling or USA bracketing accounts.
Yep.
So when I added them to my roster, they went in to try to get their USA bracketing and start a USA bracketing account. All of a sudden, when they start doing searches, there's 2 of them now, the ones that were started and the one that they created. So is there a way to link the 2 together on my end, or does that have to go through support?
If you see that, have them come through support and we'll handle that. What happens is the kids will create their accounts or link their, if there's an account out there that has not been claimed, when the kid creates his account, as long as they're matching up the information, names, dates of birth, that sort of stuff, it will link them to their profile that's already existing. It won't create a new one. But kids will go in and they won't know their password, and so they will create another account under 1 day of birth difference or something like that. And so we see that all the time, and so we go through and constantly are merging those. So if you,
where do they get their account, their email, like with their password though? If they've got an account that's already created, that's already been set up through you guys or through the crossover, how do they find out what their password is so that they can link the 2?
So 2 things. One, as a coach, if that is the case, let me go pick one of these kids over here, roster. You'll be able to click on the wrestler, the pencil beside the wrestler, and you can go to their profile right here, click on the profile tab, and you can tell that kid if he doesn't have access, hey, there's a B something 5 at iCloud.com. That's the email address that's on your account. Okay. And that's usually enough to tell them, oh, I know what email address that was I used. Let me go use that. And they can use that to recover the password if they need to, or whatever they need to do from that point of view.
What if they never had an account though? That's what I'm saying. I'd set it up with one of my wrestlers. They tried to start an account right there. He came to a open mat session. So I was messing around trying to figure out, all right, I'm adding you to this. Here, start yourself a USA bracketing account. We were trying to figure out how to link the 2, and it wasn't jiving correctly. It ended up showing that there were 2 of him.
Just have him Have them connect, contact support, and we'll get them merged together and get it connected correctly. There's probably something along the lines of a date of birth wrong in one of the two profiles.
I got you. And so in the future, when doing this, if I drag these wrestlers over, talk to them all, give them a one on, a one on how to start their own USA bracketing account. They start accounts. This
Yeah,
shouldn't happen as long as everything on my end and their end,
correct,
the system will combine the two automatically.
correct.
Okay.
The whole thing is this: tell the kids to use their real date of birth, and they'll be fine.
Okay. 10-4.
Yeah, because kids are
Thank
kids.
you.
So thank you.
Hey, Dave, we had a question as far as the parent access goes. What's the difference between being a manager and being an insider as far as what they
Yep.
can?
So a manager gives them access where they can actually edit information, like their kid's email address, whatever needs to happen that way, so be able to see that. Insider is gives them alerts of, hey, he's been registered into this tournament and that sort of stuff. So from a parent's perspective, we always make them managers. They can manage their kid, that sort of stuff. If you are following someone like a Spencer Lee or something like that, you might want to have other access. Is the whole thing. So following them just means when I go to a tournament, they're already in my wrestlers list, so I don't have to follow them in the tournament. Now I can view them, see them highlighted on profiles, get alerts, all that kind of stuff. The insider part of it means that you get a little bit extra off the top where it's like, hey, he's registered for this tournament. You can see these sorts of things about him. Or then manager access, which is like a full blown, I have access to the profile.
But they can't go in and like change match results and things like that.
No,
Yeah.
no, no.
But what they will one neat thing from what I've heard is if I'm an insider or whatever, I'm getting notifications about one of my kids at the tournament. It's going to tell me, hey, they're coming up in 20 minutes on mat 3 or whatever.
Yeah, so as we have tournaments that run live in the system, there's a clock beside their bouts, and it is pretty accurate to the time in the tournaments that we've seen. So if you go in there and you click on the clock, it will pop up and tell you, hey, based on how this tournament's running and how the mat flow is, he's going to be up in 25 minutes or 75 minutes or 62 minutes, whatever that is. And that way you can plan out. So if you're a parent, you're clicking on that, you're sitting in a gym, hey, when's Jimmy coming up? You can click on that. He's not coming up for 45 minutes. I can walk outside, I can go to the concession stand, go to the bathroom, whatever. You can kind of plan out and know how long before he's going to start coming up.
And it's the wrestler that's granting that access, right? So if the wrestler,
That
if
access,
somebody follows the wrestler and they don't want to give access to him,
yep,
they shouldn't give access to him.
correct, correct.
Okay.
Yep. Now, following a wrestler in an event, you can follow any wrestler in an event. That's not a problem. But becoming an insider or a manager, the wrestlers have the rights to say no to that.
It's actually whoever created the account, which is why we also want the kids to create the accounts.
Right. And that's Jeff Ratliff, one of our staff.
So just to clarify, there's going to be an additional Zoom meeting for teaching us how to utilize the system for our home dual and tri match because track wrestling profile we were able to utilize them for all of the scoring,
Yes.
throwing it up on the screens. There'll be an additional Zoom meeting for teaching us that stuff in the future, correct?
There will be, and
Okay.
I'd also say, Coach, go to support and click on the YouTube training, and there's ones out here to walk you through the whole thing already. So if you wanted to, before that meeting, be able to look it over and then have questions about it, you could go ahead and do that here too, because there's like
Okay.
how to do duels, all that stuff out here.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Generally, the training videos are pretty good, pretty complete. Like I taught myself how to use it about a couple of years ago now when it first kicked out. Just based on what I knew from running things in track, I could pick it up within a day or two. So anybody that's got the experience with it won't have any trouble picking it up pretty quick. On the event management side,
Yeah.
there's some things that does a lot cleaner, where I think it's going to save some of us some time for sure.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions about just the general basics for right now? And like I said, we will be pushing out. We'll schedule an event or another Zoom later for event managers. Will be for if you're running a tournament, if you're running a multi-duel or whatever, or just want to learn how to do just the basic, I'm running a dual match or things like that. We will get that word out. And any information that USA Bracketing pushes out as far as trainings and helpful tips and things like that, we make sure to get that to you all as well.
And we'll be here for you guys the whole year. So, I mean, like I said, that support channel, support tickets, those sorts of things, drop them in. We'll handle them for you guys. Make sure you guys are taken care of.
One question I get, what do we do when a host coach doesn't create the event? And if that happens, email me and let me know, and I can have a conversation with that coach and that athletic director to say, if you're hosting an event, this is what you have to do. I know that there's new coaches. I get that every year. It's part of the learning process. My my opinion from what I've seen so far is the learning curve on this is going to be not as bad, and we can get people up to speed pretty quick. I am going to still want to utilize and create and identify USA bracketing experts across the state and the regions. As we start going through this, you start feeling comfortable with it. I want to make sure that other coaches in your area know who they can reach out to if they got a question. The more we help each other on this, the easier it's going to go. But there's nothing else. I've got 701. That was a good bit of information. Like I said, we've recorded this. I'll get it downloaded and cleaned up, and we'll probably have it posted on our website on the wrestling page on TSSAA.org, as well as any other. We're going to create a library there for you all to be able to access, and I'll get the word out once we get this posted up there. Give me a couple of days because I got to get with my IT director, but we will have this available for everyone to be able to access as well. And I would encourage you to get in there, start playing around with the accounts, start getting your kids added. And as Dave said, if you've got questions, reach out to the support staff, and we're gonna get this figured out as best we can this first year. And I'm looking forward to a great first year. If you got any questions as well, let me know also. Dave, I appreciate you coming on tonight and doing this for us. We're looking forward to this partnership. It's going to be a good thing for the state of Tennessee. I know it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys, for having me.
Thank you, guys.
Need, let us know. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate y'all. We'll see you later.